Hey everyone, I'm Bridget. I'm from the US. I love learning languages. Right now, I'm focusing on Spanish. And in this video, I'm going to continue the series where I read from El Código da Vinci, the DaVinci Code, in español, trying to learn some new vocabulary. I've put all of these videos into a playlist if you want to start from episode 1. Déjanos continuar con capítulo 2. My highlighter is ready. A menos de 2 kilómetros de ahí, Silas, el imponente albino, cruzó cojeando la verja de entrada a una lujosa residencia en la Rue de la Bruyère. El cilicio que llevaba atado al muslo se le hundía en la carne, pero su alma se regocijaba por el servicio que le prestaba al Señor. That's a doozy. So, less than 2 kilometers away, Silas, el imponente albino, the imposing albino, crossed la verja, crossed along the gate of a luxurious residence on the Rue de la Bruyère. Cruzó cojeando. Cojear means to limp. Ladies and gents, we've got our first highlight. El cilicio que llevaba. Something that he was wearing sunk into his muscle, but his soul was focused on the service to God. That's not right. El cilicio is the hair shirt. I'm never going to use that word, so I'm not going to try to remember it. So the hair shirt that was attached al muslo, his thigh. Do I not know the word for the thigh? No, I did not know that. Here I am not even knowing body parts in Spanish. Okay, so the hair shirt that he was wearing on his thigh, atado al muslo, tied to the thigh. So the hair shirt that he was wearing tied to his thigh sunk itself into la carne, into his flesh. But his soul se regocijaba, rejoiced, for the service that he was doing for God. El dolor es bueno. Pain is good. Al entrar en la residencia, escrutó el vestíbulo con sus ojos rojos. Vacío. Subió la escalera con sigilo para no despertar a los demás numerarios. La puerta de su dormitorio estaba abierta. Las cerraduras estaban prohibidas en aquel lugar. Entró y ajustó la puerta tras de sí. So, upon entering the residence, escrutó el vestíbulo. He scrutinized the vestibule with his red eyes. Wow, that's right. As a side note, if you're enjoying this series, if you enjoy content about language learning, I would love it if you would hit subscribe, please. It's free for you. It really helps my channel to grow. Also, giving this video a thumbs up helps. Leaving a comment helps. Sharing the video helps. Any little bit helps. Thanks. Where was I? Vacío. It was empty. He climbed the stairs with taking care not to wake up the other numeraries. The door to his dormitory was open. Las cerraduras estaban prohibidas en aquel lugar. Like, locks were prohibited in this place. Ajustó, like, left the door open behind him. He adjusted the door behind him. What is adjusting the door? Like, open, closed? La habitación era espartana. Suelos de madera. Una cómoda de pino y una cama en un rincón. Ahí solo llevaba una semana, estaba de paso, pero en Nueva York hacía muchos años que gozaba de la bendición de un refugio parecido. So, la habitación era espartana, the room was Spartan. Suelos de madera, una cómoda de pino y una cama en un rincón. So, floor made of wood, a pine chest of drawers, and a bed in a corner. He had only been there for 1 week. Estaba de paso. He was passing through. Estaba de paso. So he had only been there for 1 week. He was passing through. But in New York, hacía muchos años que gozaba de la bendición de un refugio parecido. But in New York, gozar means to enjoy. That is such a basic word. Why didn't I know it? In New York, for many years, he had enjoyed a similar refuge. El Señor me ha dado un techo y le ha dado sentido a mi vida. God has given me a ceiling, like a roof over my head, y le ha dado sentido a mi vida, and given meaning to my life. Aquella noche, al fin, Silas había sentido que estaba empezando a pagar la deuda que había contraído. Se acercó deprisa a la cómoda y buscó el teléfono móvil en el último cajón. Marcó un número. That night, finally, Silas was starting to feel that he was beginning to pay the debt that he had acquired. He quickly went up to the dressers and found a mobile phone in the bottom drawer. He entered a number. Diga, respondió una voz masculina. Talk, answered a masculine voice. Maestro, he vuelto. Teacher, I have returned. Hable, ordenó su interlocutor, alegrándose de tener noticias suyas. Speak, ordered his interlocutor, becoming happy to hear from him, to get news from him. Los cuatro han desaparecido, los tres senescales y también el gran maestre. The four have disappeared, are gone, the three senescales and also the grand master. Se hizo un breve silencio como de oración. There was a short silence, like a prayer. Prayer is oración. Okay, this is where we're at so far. Some pretty basic words here that I'm ashamed that I didn't remember, but what are you gonna do? En ese caso, supongo que está en poder de la información. In that case, I suppose that you are in possession of the information. Los cuatro coincidieron de manera independiente. The four, agreed independently with one another. Y usted les creyó, and you believed them. Su acuerdo era tan total que no podía deberse a la casualidad. Se oyó un suspiro de entusiasmo. Their agreement was so complete that there's no room for coincidence. There was heard a gasp of surprise, or an inhale of surprise. Magnífico. Tenía miedo de que su fama de secretismo acabara imponiéndose. Magnificent. I was afraid that the famed secrecy would have ended up messing you up. La perspectiva de la muerte condiciona mucho. The threat of death helps a lot. Y bien, discípulo, dígame lo que debo saber. And so, disciple, tell me what I should know. Silas era consciente de que la información que había consacado a sus víctimas sería toda una sorpresa. Silas was aware that the information he had gotten from his victims would be a complete surprise. Maestro, los cuatro han confirmado la existencia de la clef de voûte, la legendaria clave de bóveda. Teacher, the four have confirmed in the existence of la clef de voûte, the legendary clave de bóveda, key to the vault. Oyó la respiración emocionada de su maestro al otro lado de la línea. He heard the excited breathing of his teacher on the other end of the line. La clave, tal como sospechábamos. The key, just like we suspected. Según la tradición, la hermandad había creado un mapa de piedra, una clef de voûte o clave de bóveda, una tablilla en la que estaba grabado el lugar donde reposaba el mayor secreto de la orden. Una información tan trascendental que su custodia justificaba por sí misma la existencia de aquella organización. According to tradition, the Brotherhood had created a map of stone, una clef de voûte, or a key to the vault, a tablet in which is recorded the location of the largest secret of the order. Information so transcendental that guarding it was the reason that the organization existed at all. Cuando nos hagamos con la clave, dijo el maestro, ya solo estaremos a un paso. Once we are in possession of the key, said the teacher, then we will only have one step left, I think. Estamos más cerca de lo que creí. La piedra o clave está aquí, en París. We are closer than I thought, or we thought. The stone or key is here in Paris. En París. Increíble. Parece casi demasiado fácil. In Paris, incredible. It seems almost too easy. Silas le relató los sucesos de aquella tarde, el intento desesperado de sus cuatro víctimas por salvar sus vidas vacías de Dios, revelándole el secreto. Los cuatro le habían contado a Silas exactamente lo mismo, que la piedra estaba ingeniosamente oculta en un lugar concreto de una de las antiguas iglesias parisinas, la de Saint-Sulpice. Silas related to him the details of that afternoon, the unexpected intention, the desperate attempt, el intento attempt, desesperado, desperate. So the desperate attempt of his 4 victims to save their empty lives, giving up the secret. The 4 had told Silas exactly the same thing, that the stone was ingeniously hidden in a secret place in one of the oldest Parisian churches, that of Saint Sulpice. En una casa de Dios, exclamó el maestro, ¿cómo se mofan de nosotros? In a house of God, exclaimed the teacher. How they mofan, how they make fun of us? Mock, how they mock us. Llevan siglos haciéndolo. They've been doing it for centuries. El maestro se quedó en silencio, asimilando el triunfo de aquel instante. The teacher sat in silence for a moment, taking in, assimilating the triumph of that moment. That's that page. I only highlighted one thing. Moving on. Le ha hecho un gran servicio al Señor. Llevamos siglos esperando este momento. Ahora debe traerme la piedra esta noche. Estoy seguro de que entiende todo lo que está en juego. You have done the Lord a great service. We have been waiting centuries for this moment. And now bring me the stone tonight. I am sure that you understand everything that's at play here, or everything that's at risk or in jeopardy. Silas sabía que era incalculable, y aún así lo que pedía el maestro le parecía imposible. Silas knew that it was incalculable, and yet it still seemed to him that what the teacher was asking for was impossible. Pero es que la iglesia es una fortaleza, y más de noche, ¿cómo voy a entrar? But the church is I'm like forgetting English. Fortification, a stronghold, like a castle, a fortress. But the church is a fortress, and even more at night, how would I enter? Con la seguridad propia del hombre influyente que era. El maestro le explicó cómo debía hacerlo. With the assurance belonging to such an influential man that he was. It's not a smooth translation, but the teacher explained exactly how he was going to do it. Should we do the last bit here? Let's just do it. Let's just go. Wait a second. That is no longer hot. Okay, let's power through to the end of the chapter. Cuando Silas colgó, era presa de una impaciencia inenarrable. When Silas hung up, he was seized with an indescribable impatience. Indescribable. Inenarrable. Una hora, se dijo a sí mismo, agradecido de que el maestro le hubiera concedido tiempo para hacer penitencia antes de entrar en la casa de Dios. 1 hour, he told himself, grateful that the teacher had given him time to repent before entering the house of God. Debo purgar mi alma de los pecados de hoy. Las ofensas contra el Señor que había cometido ese día tenían un propósito sagrado. Hacía siglos que se perpetraban actos de guerra contra los enemigos de Dios. Su perdón estaba asegurado. I need to purge my soul of today's sins. The offenses against God that he had done that day had a sacred purpose. For centuries, there had been perpetrated acts of war against the enemies of God. So his forgiveness was assured, I think. Pero Silas sabía que la absolución exigía sacrificio. I'm actually going to highlight exigir because I forgot that word. Demands. But Silas knew that absolution required sacrifice. Cerró las persianas, se desnudó y se arrodilló en el medio del cuarto. Bajó la vista y examinó el cilicio que le apretaba el muslo. We know what that means now. Todos los seguidores verdaderos de camino llevaban esa correa de piel salpicada de púas metálicas que se clavaban en la carne como un recordatorio perpetuo del sufrimiento de Cristo. Además, el dolor que causaba servía también para acallar los deseos de la carne. So, he closed the curtains, he took off his clothes, and he arrodilló arrodilló, like he set himself up in the middle of the room. Kneel, knelt. Aquí, knelt. Las persianas. The blinds, las persianas. You know, I'm gonna highlight that too. He closed the blinds, he took off his clothes, and he knelt in the middle of the room. He lowered his gaze and examined the hair shirt that was tight on his muscle, that was affixed to his muscle. No, we just talked about this, you guys. The thigh. He examined the hair shirt that was tied to his thigh. All of the true followers of Camino wore this sort of correa de piel salpicada de púas metálicas. I remember this from the original book in English. It's like something around his thigh that's like a buckle. It's like he tightens it. The true followers wore this leather strap studded with metal spikes that dug into the flesh. Okay, so we're calling it a hair shirt, but really it's just like, I don't know. Púas metálicas, metal spikes, que se clavaban en la carne, that dug into the flesh, como un recordatorio perpetuo del sufrimiento de Cristo, so like as a perpetual reminder of the suffering of Christ. Además, el dolor que causaba servía también para acallar los deseos de la carne. Furthermore, the pain that it caused served to like hamper the desires of the flesh. Silence? Acallar. Acallar, to silence. That makes sense, and if I had really thought about it, I probably would have gotten that, because callarse means to shut up, to be quiet. Okay. So to silence the desires of the flesh. Aunque ya hacía más de 2 horas que Silas llevaba puesto el cilicio, que era el tiempo mínimo exigido, sabía que aquel no era un día cualquiera. Agarró la hebilla y se lo apretó un poco más, sintiendo que las púas se le hundían en la carne. Expulsó aire lentamente, saboreando aquel ritual de limpieza que le ofrecía el dolor. Although it had been more than 2 hours that Silas had been wearing this hair shirt slash thing, which is the minimum exigir, now we remember means demanded, so which is the minimum amount of time required. He knew that today was not just any day. Agarró la hebilla. Hebilla. ¿Qué es? Hebilla. Buckle. So he took the buckle and he tightened it a little bit more, feeling the spikes sinking into his flesh. He let out some air slowly, like savoring that cleansing ritual that pain offered. El dolor es bueno, susurró Silas, repitiendo el mantra sagrado del padre José María Escrivá, el maestro de todos los maestros. Aunque había muerto en, I hate numbers in other languages, 1975, su saber le había sobrevivido y sus palabras aún las pronunciaban entre susurros miles de serbios devotos en todo el mundo cuando se arrodillaban y se entregaban a la práctica sagrada conocida como mortificación corporal. Pain is good, whispered Silas, repeating the sacred mantra of Father José María Escrivá, the teacher of all of the teachers. Although he had died in 1975, his knowledge had survived, knowledge or wisdom, had survived, and his words continued to be spoken in whispers among the thousands of devoted servants all over the world. Se arrodillaban. We learned that word, kneeling. Haha. So that's reflexive. Arrodillarse. Because the rodilla is a knee. Arrodillarse. That makes so much sense. There were clues all along. When they knelt in the sacred practice known as corporal mortification, body mortification. Okay, so this is from this page. Here we go. These are the words. We're almost done. Ahora, Silas centró su atención en la cuerda de gruesos extremos anundados que tenía en el suelo junto a él. La disciplina. Los nudos estaban recubiertos de sangre recesa, impaciente por recibir los efectos purificadores de su propia agonía. Silas dijo una breve oración y acto seguido agarrando un extremo de la cuerda, cerró los ojos y se azotó con ella por encima del hombro, notando que los nudos le golpeaban la espalda. Siguió azotándose una y otra vez. Castigo corpus meum. Al cabo de un rato empezó a sangrar. They're really not letting us just like coast to the end of this chapter. What does any of that mean? Now, Silas centered his attention on la cuerda de gruesos extremos. La cuerda. La cuerda, so la cuerda is the rope. So now Silas centered his attention on the rope with thick knotted ends. Like, I'm not going to write that down, but it's a rope that has knots in it. That was on the floor nearby. La disciplina, the discipline. Los nudos, which we now know are knots, were covered in old blood, reseca, like dried blood. Impatient to receive the effects of his own agony, Silas said a brief prayer and then, holding one end of the rope, closed his eyes and azotó, I want to say like threw it over his shoulder so that, feeling the knots hitting his back, he continued to azotándose, he continued to lash himself again and again. Castigo corpus meum. After a while, it began to bleed. So on our last page, those are the two. I messed up a little writing it down. So those are all the vocab words we learned today. I think there's some good stuff in here. Some things I feel I should have already known, but what are you gonna do? Not great, not terrible, but that marks the end of chapter 2. How exciting for us. I hope you guys learned something also, like I did, if you're also learning Spanish, and I hope you will join me as we continue into chapter 3.